Hello, everyone. It's Royce here, and I want to thank you all for joining us tonight on our Royce in the House YouTube channel. Next to me, point the right direction tonight, is Michael Nolan, fantastic podcaster in his own right, fastest growing show that I'm aware of. And Michael has just done some amazing things on his show. I'm his biggest fan. I'm part of his Patreon account. And we really appreciate him co-hosting. He brings so much to the show. Below me is my good friend Chris Elliott, and Chris is just he has so much knowledge on the subject matter. Whatever we're talking about, Chris knows more about it than anybody, and I really appreciate you being here. Have you been doing anything on your show lately, Chris?
No, I've had to skip my show a little bit recently because of some personal issues with my father and that. So.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I hope
guys, it's St.
work
Patrick's
out for you, brother.
Yeah, me too. It's St. Patrick's Day today, and I want to say this is my mother's birthday. She's been gone for about 5 years now. She lived with us for 5 years, as she was really aging, and I think she made it to 90. But So anyway, it's kind of a special and sad day for me. We've got Jeff Davidson, we've got Caitlin Stoddard, we have Catherine. We have the Music Sanctuary, and thank you all for joining us tonight. We're going to be having a conversation.
All the usual suspects there, Royce.
Yeah, they're coming in. Gloria, hi, Gloria. Good to see you, Gloria. Gloria and I go back as far as Caitlin and I go back, on previous shows and stuff. So we've been around a long time together. Anyway, so tonight, this is one of my favorite genres, and there was a couple of years in my life, mid to later teens, where it was my favorite genre. And we're talking about a period of time when Sgt. Pepper's was out and Magical Mystery Tour, but me and my friends, and it seemed like it was everybody, not just me in a small group, but everybody. Whenever you were hanging out with people and partying, whatever you were doing, everybody just played soul music. I've never seen anything like it. And so we loved it, and I continue to love it today. I have to admit I don't listen to it as much because it sort of comes in waves with me. I'll hear like I went into a store the other day, a thrift store. Well, it's been a couple of months now, and I found, the ultimate Otis Redding, and Otis Redding is probably at about a 3-way tie for my favorite blues artist. But we're going to start out. I'm going to bring up first of all. I heard it through the grapevine by the Temptations. I'm sorry, Marvin Gaye. What am I saying? Sorry, folks. I've been so excited looking at all this stuff today. And I've got this album, and it's called The Number Ones by Marvin Gaye. The Number Ones. Been joined by James Watson, Melissa.
Marvin Gaye is my favorite soul artist of all time, Royce.
I'm telling you. Johnny.
And you know what? Hey, Johnny, I was a little late getting to Marvin Gaye. I'll tell you what it was What's Going On. And I was a bad boy when I was a teenager. So I got sent back to North Carolina to live with relatives because I was out of my mom's control. And she was the only parent in the house. So she said, "Off with you, young man." And on the way to it was a 3.5-day bus ride from San Francisco, Santa Rosa, California, to Waynesville, North Carolina. And on those 3 days, I met this young black man. I was 17, Royce, and this young black man was like 24. And he saw my guitar case. So he would he'd start singing, and I would pick. And 3.5 days of jamming, he turned me on to Marvin Gaye. I heard What's Going On, that whole album. For 3.5 days, I was transfixed. And that man, that to me is the first time that a whole album attacked and praised what we were going through that very year. Oh, wonderful.
Wonderful.
Royce.
Hey, I gotta
Royce,
say,
Chris,
hey, Johnny,
Michael,
we've been
the
joined
peanut
by
gallery. The
we've
peanut
been joined
gallery.
by Johnny L. Great to see you, brother. You've been doing a lot of shows lately. I've been checking them all out.
Yeah, a lot of heat. I've been getting a bit of a heat.
No.
And we've also been joined by George, Music for All 4 Seasons.
You know what, Johnny? I think that what's going on over at Rachel's is there's a level she's forcefully kicking you up on, and I'm going to tell you, your level has of knowledge and everything has improved. So take it on the chin, because you've become a voice of authority over there. Congrats,
Well, wait a minute,
man.
wait a minute.
Congrats.
What did I just miss?
First of all, they've got this kind of thing between. This is kind of, Rachel's a master at this.
She's great.
So she's got this, and whenever she turns into this voice, Johnny, shit and shenanigans are gonna. Sorry, voice. Bleep that out. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm trying to keep my language PG, folks.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they've got this kind of fake thing going between him and Renee Kerman over there, and But anyway, it's for the most part good natured, right?
Right. Of course.
But anyway, when Johnny first started coming over there, and even on this channel, you could tell he was out of his genre, which is doo-wop. And brother, your knowledge base is increasing every day. Congratulations.
Absolutely.
And,
okay,
and it's a pleasure to share the screen.
One thing I want to say, guys, and good to see you here, Michael Chavez. Thank you so much. But one thing I want to say is, let's do the best we can to stay on topic, which is soul music. I actually got criticized by more than one person last week for drifting away from The Who. And one of them even left early because he wanted to hear more about The Who. So anyway, so I just want to make a few more comments about this Marvin Gaye's number ones. Some of my favorite songs are on here. Okay, let's get it on. Okay, Sexual Healing. That's a big hit. Sexual Healing.
Yeah.
Let's see. What's Going On? Ain't Nothing Like the Real Thing with Tammy Terrell. That was a big hit.
What a duet. Yeah.
Okay. There's a bunch of stuff. I'm not reading them all. I'll Be Doggone. That's a fun song.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's another one with Tammy Terrell, and that's You're All I Need to Get By. And Inner City Blues, Mercy, Mercy Me. I heard it through the grapevine. I love it.
And what a version. What a version.
Okay.
Yeah. What a version.
If you ever want some good soul music, this is Marvin Gaye's number ones.
And even if you're a rocker, you're going to love that material.
Translucent purple vinyl.
And there's a story behind one of those. If you're a rock and like the gloom and doom, Sexual Healing, his father shot him over that song.
So.
Yeah, his father killed him. Yeah, I mean, his father had a little mental illness, I guess. I mean,
that was really. Yeah, I saw Marvin Gaye at the CNE way back in the early '80s or the late '70s at CNE in Toronto. Marvin Gaye, what a concert! Yeah, Sexual Healing, he sang. All the hits.
Yeah,
excellent.
Fantastic. I love Marvin Gaye. I could listen. I would listen to Marvin Gaye all day long.
But let's also understand he concocted kind of, I would say, wouldn't you consider his stuff with, on what is the album that has What's Going On and all of that? That's a concept album done in, soul fashion, that sets it apart on a whole different level for me, Royce.
Oh, totally.
And to me, it's a rock masterpiece, classic rock album. He's one of the Royce and I were talking about this at the beginning. A lot of these artists we're going to be talking about tonight, I would be more, and everybody here knows how critical I am of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But most of these artists, see, they are they are an offshoot of the blues, like rock is an offshoot of the blues, and so therefore they are a cousin to rock. And they also came out at a time that these songs were played right next to A Whole Lot of Love,
Right.
And Billy Don't Be a Hero and all that crap stuff.
I've got to show this next because, and I think some of you have probably heard me say this before. Otis Redding sitting on the dock of the bay, and I'm often heard saying, if you can find anybody that's listened to that song more than I have, please introduce me to him. I want to shake his hand, because I've listened to that song probably 10,000 times. And so I've got this. I picked this up a few months back, The Ultimate Otis Redding. And I mean, the songs that are on this, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay, of course. These Arms of Mine, Pain in My Heart, Come to Me, Serenity. Let's see. Let me skip here a little bit. I've Been Loving You Too Long.
That's
the voice. Otis Redding's voice is like, there's nothing else out there like it. I mean, it was like straight from heaven or some damn thing.
And
of course, he was a big gospel singer as well before he became a famous.
Right, a lot of them were, but sitting on, a lot of people forget that Sitting on the Dock of the Bay. You've heard it so many times, but next time you hear it, just listen to the lyrics and how he sings that song. It's epic. It's epic.
Right. Oh no, it really is. It's funny because a friend of mine made up a story about how he died, and we all believed it, and we're all repeating it all over town, and found out it was horseshit later. He died at the age of 26 in a plane crash, flying from one concert to another. And I understand he owned it. It was a Beechcraft Bonanza, an expensive airplane. They were in bad weather. And we did a show on Otis Redding. Dan McNew was my co-host at the time. Were you there, Michael?
No, that was just before me, Royce, but I saw it.
Well, Dan had the video of them pulling the plane by the tail up out of the water at the lake that it crashed into. And we went through it all. He was wealthy. He owned a big ranch. I think it was in Tennessee. He did very, very well for himself. He was getting paid very, very well for the times we're in, because he was a huge, huge star. And I absolutely love his music.
But you know what, Royce? For a minute, I know why you probably like. I know why you probably like to Sitting on the Dock of the Bay. I know I did, and I played it several times. And you know what it did? It cut listening to the lyrics in the song. It brought me back to me sitting on the dock, listening to the boats come in, and you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, like I do. I absolutely
do. A vision
do.
of in your mind being there. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know but I mean, that voice, it seemed like there was nothing else out there like it. I want to say,
even the whistling, guys, the whistling just fits so well.
Oh, yeah, the whistling. I want to welcome Daddy Boggs. Daddy Boggs and I go back a long ways. We've had a lot of fun together over the years. And Dr. Rick, he came in early before the show started, and he's back. And thank you. And Safe and Sound Audio, Texas. Texas
David, come on up.
David's here, man.
Come on up, brother.
You know David's a huge Soul fan. I mean, I'm just guessing here, but I'm going to put a link up. Here's a link. And
you know what, Royce? Tonight we got a lot of tribal members out there as well. I'm glad to see that.
And I want to thank everybody that's come from Michael's show, because I know Michael has really supported me and encouraged people to come to my shows, and I do appreciate each and every one of you.
I'm an elder
Royce,
now, Michael.
you know what? I support you because Are you? Did you?
Yes.
Oh, Johnny, you know, I did see that. Yeah. I didn't get you up on my latest list, but you're in the next video. I always do shout outs for Patreon members. But, you know, I just did a video where, and I wasn't going to release it on my channel, Royce, and we'll get right back to the subject, folks. But it was sharing those wonderful albums you sent me. And when I was talking about the Beach Boys, I explained to everybody that the Beach Boys, you know, that I loved them. Matter of fact, the first two records I ever got were Beach Boy compilation albums. I was 12 and I got a little square record player and 2 albums for Christmas. We were poor. And so I was already a Beach Boys fan before I ever heard of the Beatles. But once I got a hold of the Beatles, I never really bought any Beach Boy albums that were like just their latest release. And so I highly recommended that album that you sent me as a crash course on the Beach Boys. But I want to say something. Yeah, Daddy Bog is the guy. I love the Beach Boys, and I know a lot about Brian Wilson because he's a personal hero of mine on the level of McCartney and Lennon, by the way. But Daddy Bog, when you want to know Beach Boys stuff, man, he's our, you know, local expert on them.
Right. Well, I want to wish both Dr. Rick and Caitlin, well, because they both had some medical issues, and I hope you're both. I hope you're both doing very, very well, and
speedy recovery.
We're praying for y'all.
Yeah, I hope you're up to at least more than 2 fingers typing there, Caitlin. And same, Dr. Rick. I already expressed that to him elsewhere, but
yeah. Well, the next one I want to talk about here is the Temptations. Now, there was probably a time when this was my favorite band ever, and not only did I see them twice in concert, but I seen them twice in concert with the Four Tops. I mean, if you're familiar with the Four Tops, and I'm sure Johnny is, but I mean, 7 Rooms of Gloom, Bernadette. I mean,
Bernadette,
just
great song.
Oh my God, there's so many epic songs. Bernadette's on here.
Bernadette, when they sing the song and then it stops, and then all of a sudden, Bernadette. Oh, I love that part.
Sugar Pie, Honey Bunch. I mean, the Four Tops were, a little earlier of a band than the Temptations even. But we have the Paso Robles Fairgrounds up here, they'll have about 13, 14 nights of concerts during the entire fair. There'll be a grandstand show. I mean, I've seen Bob Dylan, I've seen Tom Petty, I've seen Eddie Van Halen. But since it is a fair and you do have the 4-H animals being judged and sold and things like that, and a huge carnival and just limitless buildings full of things for sale. But we saw the Temptations and the Four Tops twice. Of course, small venue, way past their prime. It was maybe 15 years ago, 20 years ago. But 2 bands that I absolutely loved. And what it was a bunch of big tables with white tablecloths on them. And everybody was down on the floor. That would be the expensive seats because they weren't like big at that time, But I was just
I love it when I can see a band after, their first blush of success and see them at a fair. Oh, some of the best concerts I have been at fairs, Royce. I saw Edison Lighthouse just 3 or 4 years ago, and there was only really one member left from the original recordings. He was like the guitar player, but they had gotten this really great bass player who sang most of their hits there. And, you taken as that, more of a tribute band to Edison Lighthouse than the actual Edison Lighthouse. It was a wonderful concert, and I'm not a dancer, and I was dancing. My wife looked at me like I was crazy, man.
But I've got to read you a couple of the songs off this one because this one is just so great. Okay, you've got The Way You Do, The Things You Do, My Girl, written by Smokey Robinson, who is a prolific songwriter. I mean, he probably gave Dolly Parton a run for her money as far as songwriting. He wrote many of the Temptations' big hits. He also wrote not just My Girl for the Temptations. He wrote My Guy for one of the female soul artists. And I can't remember My Guy. Right. And exactly. Beauty's Only Skin Deep. Since I Lost My Baby, The Girl's All Right With Me, I'd Be in Trouble If You Leave Me Now. And just these are iconic songs. What was kind of funny for me, and I discovered this late, but Bill Cosby, we all know who Bill Cosby is and the trouble he got into. Well, he wrote the liner notes here. And what's so funny is it's probably written like 40 years before he ever got in trouble, and some of the liner notes actually kind of coincide with the trouble he got into when he's talking about we always had girls around and talking in his house. He's saying,
Mary Wells sang My Guy.
There you go. Thanks, Johnny. You're right.
Right. So anyway, I love the Temptations. Like I said, these guys and Otis Redding and Marvin Gaye. I could almost call it a 3-way tie as far as my love of soul music.
I do want to say one thing about Bill Cosby. Good riddance to him for what he has been found guilty of, but that does not take away his absolute brilliance as a comedian. Absolutely. His finger on the pulse beat of what was happening at the time. I saw him live twice. I saw him at the Ice Arena in Santa Rosa, which was owned by the Peanuts creator. All right. he drew Peanuts, Charles Schultz. And my friend Cole Burnett and I, that's the guy I told in my latest video who taught me my first 6 chords on guitar. We went to go see Bill Cosby that night, and him and I followed him and Charles Schultz over to Charles Schultz. It's now the museum, but it used to be Charles Schultz indoor, beautiful tennis court. And we watched Bill Cosby and Charles Schultz play tennis. Then we went to the show. My friend went, Bill, he just had Bill. And, he turned around and waved. And by the end of the evening, my face muscles were ready to melt off. And all of his humor was about being a dad and a husband. So he was brilliant. And I'm sorry he let go of his better nature. But he is part of my childhood and a childhood. I used to buy his records, Royce.
The Cosby Show was good.
I have one of Bill Cosby's records too.
Yeah. So, being guilty of what he is, and he's been found guilty. He's right where Phil Spector wound up. And I guess that's justice. But I will never be so upset with him that I will not admit the man was a comic genius. Plain and simple.
Oh no, yeah. And if you remember, he was referred to as America's father.
Right.
Okay. Aretha Franklin.
Nice.
Nice. Now we're talking.
Yeah, Aretha's gold here. Okay.
Oh my God.
Gold. And oh my God, Aretha is absolutely amazing.
Absolutely open mouth melt my brain every time she opens her mouth.
So just listen to some of these songs here. I never loved a man, in parentheses, the way I loved you. What a great song. Respect. Okay, come on. Dr. Feelgood. I mean, maybe Motley Crue stole that from her. You make me feel like a natural woman.
Yeah, good one.
Chain of Fools, chain.
Nice one.
Yeah, oh, I know. These kind of fit into the doo-wop a little bit era, don't they?
Yeah.
A little bit later. A little bit later. Yeah. The House That Jack Built. I say a little prayer for you. I mean, this is just if you want some Aretha and you don't want to have to buy 6 albums, Aretha's gold. I'm sure this is colored vinyl too. I won't pull it out, you guys. I get carried away pulling the vinyl out sometimes. I also have Aretha Franklin, Amazing Grace. She did a lot of gospel stuff as well.
Oh, she looks good on that cover. Yeah.
She does. She looks kind of reggae,
Yeah.
And this happens to be a gatefold with some cool pictures and a lot of nice stuff written here,
Yeah.
And but there's good songs here. I mean, there are like Mary, Don't You Weep, Precious Lord, Take My Hand, You Got a Friend, Give Yourself to Jesus, Amazing Grace. I mean, these songs, I have listened to this. Her voice is just,
Was it her that did the jazzed up version of Can't Buy Me Love? Was that Aretha?
I really...
You can't,
a real swinged up version of Can't Buy Me Love. I thought it was Aretha. Does anybody out in the peanut gallery know if that was her, or am I thinking of someone else? Right at the time that Hard Day's Night came out, I think it was her. Everybody was covering their stuff, and some people had more success than not. But this was such a jazzy rendition. I mean, it added breath to the song, and one of the few Beatle covers, because for the most part, most people didn't do great Beatle covers to me. There were a few. Joe Cocker, did a great Beatle cover, but this one just added a fire that wasn't there with the Beatles style. I still like the Beatles version, but this one's good.
My good friend Daddy Boggs just challenged me. Maybe Sam Cooke gets a nod. You are so damn right.
Damn right.
I don't know how many shows. I don't know how many shows I've been on with Daddy Boggs, there was like a little joke that went back and forth about Sam Cooke. But I mean, what an artist here, Sam Cooke. I love that song. If you ever change your mind about leaving me behind,
I think the time is going to come. That one, from Sam Cooke.
Yeah,
I think there's a time. I think it's called "The Time Was Going to Come" or something like that on Sam Cooke.
Well, listen, let me just read some of these. Okay, touch the hem of his garment. Let me skip down. Okay, only 16. You send me. For love you for sentimental reasons. Just for you. Everybody loves to cha cha cha. Okay, this is a song that I love. I used to screw around on the acoustic guitar and try to play this.
Oh.
Bring it on home to me.
Mm-hmm.
Bring it on.
A change is gonna come.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing can change this love. Sugar dumpling. Meet me at Mary's place. Twisting the night away. Shake. Yeah. Tennessee Waltz. That's only one of the 2 albums that are in here. Okay. Let's see. Which one did you mention, Johnny?
A change is gonna come. That's you listen to that song, and there's
it's here.
There's a message behind it. A message.
It's side 4. A change is gonna come
about slavery and stuff like that. You can hear the the pain in his voice, and
this is a really great double album.
Great.
Well, Sam Cooke to me is kind of like the Robert Johnson was to rock and roll. Robert Johnson was rock and roll or the blues first roadhouse man. Sam Cooke was a roadhouse lead singer. His style fit live in a crowd of no more than 300. Intimate. He had that intimate voice, that approach, and he was a backdoor man. It cost him. We could do a whole video on Sam Cooke.
Oh yeah, totally.
But he's got the mythology that Robert Johnson has. He's got the looks. He's got the romance. He's a good boy, bad boy. He's on the road all the time. Hit after hit. God.
Oh. Absolutely.
What a great guy. Yeah.
I've got a few Stevie Wonder albums here. And Stevie Wonder, like some of the other people I'm going to show, are a little bit of a fusion. They're not just pure soul. There's some rock, there's some jazz. There's things mixed in, but they're still considered soul.
Well, basically it's called Motown.
Motown, right.
All of it combined, right?
Yeah. Here this is Stevie Wonder's Inner Visions.
And that was the second soul album I ever bought in my life, right there.
Was it?
Yes, sir. That is a masterpiece.
Oh,
you are holding a hallowed object, Royce. That is Stevie Wonder's. That is his masterpiece, and he's got several masterpieces, but this is his Mona Lisa, right?
Yeah. In fact, there's Mona right there. No, I'm kidding. But anyway, so this has, I'll read a couple of songs here. Boy, this writing is small.
Golden Lady.
It's, let's see. Too High, Visions, Living for the City, Golden Lady, Michael. Higher Ground, Jesus, Children of America, All in Love is Fair, Don't You Worry About a Thing, and He's Mistreating You. He's Mr. Know-It-All. Okay.
Not a weak cut on that album, Royce. Not a weak cut. You just have masterpieces followed by a major masterpiece, then a masterpiece and another major masterpiece. Each cut. Oh, and the flow of the album is even wonderful. Sorry, Johnny.
Just an observation I made in private chat. David Bianco is backstage, it says. Backstage.
Oh. Let's see.
So you want to check?
Well, get that guy up here.
No, I know. I don't.
There, but
I'm having trouble seeing anybody. See, everybody that's on right now, we're all lined up at the bottom of the page, and when somebody comes on, it's hard to find them because
you haven't seen me several times. So hang on, David. He'll find you. We've had a couple of times where we'll be hanging backstage and Royce can't find us or whatever. So
I'm looking at the full screen and there's nobody.
Send him a new link. Send him a brand new link because maybe that link is already in tomorrow time and it doesn't have its charmed life anymore for St. Patty's Day.
David, the new link is up. Please join us. I'm watching down below. Like I said, you guys all know this. There's a little. All of us are down below in small. And we fill the 4 that are here fill the whole screen over to the chat. So anyone that comes on now is below that, And sometimes I mean, I can't scroll down any more than I
I
already
was going to
have.
say, you can't scroll. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't scroll. But normally I would see them.
How about minimizing the window so that it gives you the full picture, just in case it's that?
Minimizing which window?
I don't know. What system are you on? Are you on an Apple or PC?
PC.
All right. Whatever button you have there, you should have something very similar, lower right-hand frame where you could click, or at least it used to be. I haven't done PC. I did it at work, but that's why I know PC, but I've always been an Apple man. But if you sometimes minimize the frame, then the minimized frame shows you the whole enchilada. And then you can drag it back to size, but maybe that's not your problem.
Yeah, I don't see that anywhere. Yeah. There's nothing down there for me to click on.
Daddy Bug, you're just too kind. Daddy Bog knows better. He sees me coming. It's a quick. What was it? They said right. Ian did over it with another gentleman. He just kind of kept looking at the bends. I don't know what that drama was all about, but I've had that happen to me. Go figure.
I've got a weird screen showing here. I got to cancel it out. Yeah, I don't want to be experimenting here because I'm gonna be I'm gonna be re-upping my show before I know it. So
James Watson's got a real cool idea here. He says we look like the cover of Let It Be. All right, now remember this little video? You guys freeze for a second, and then all of a sudden in this video, Paul comes along. When I find myself, all right, enough of that.
Okay, well let me do this. I'll do a couple of quick things here, like that.
You're doing that. Jeff Davidson in the comments earlier brought up a good point when he would mention Tina Turner. Hard to talk about soul.
Oh,
rhythm and blues and soul, all of that without bringing up Tina Turner.
Yeah, you're right, Chris. Yeah.
If it comes to the one rhythm and blues / soul personage that was queen, a rock queen, it was Tina. It was Tina. Tina was as much rock as she was pop, as she was soul, as she was R&B. She did it all.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Tina and Aretha Franklin, the two of them are almost like the link that combines R&B and blues to soul.
Them and Dianaross and the Supremes. Dianaross and the Supremes. Now, see, I never bought any of their albums, and I was not a singles guy. But for soul artists, like I said, I only bought at first 2 soul records, and we've discussed them tonight. But but I was a fan of soul. That was the only time with soul records to buy 45s for me, because a lot of them didn't have albums the way I wanted to hear the albums. They were like combined tracks after, they go in, they record 14 tracks, they pick the 12 best, which most of the industry was doing, to be frank. But so I would buy the singles. And Dianaross and the Supremes, they're in the 60s while the Beatles were at their most powerful.
Right.
Yeah, that band gave the Beatles a run for their money in the amount of top 10 hits they produced. Yeah. You can't talk about soul without Dianaross. She's a major talent. And we're getting to Dianaross.
What do you got
there?
Okay. Songs in the Key of Life.
Key of Life. Yep. Yeah. Another masterpiece.
Yeah, no, this is a really great album here.
Yes, it is.
Looks like.
Yeah. Okay, another Stevie Wonder. And then we're going to look at some Dianaross. Okay, this is Stevie Wonder's greatest hits.
Yep.
Wow.
Okay.
Stevie Wonder, Paul McCartney, Paul Simon all owned the 70s. Think of those 3 artists: Paul McCartney, Stevie Wonder, and Paul Simon. One of those guys, if not all 3 of them, were on any top 10 list at any week during the whole 70s.
Stevie Wonder's great music goes back to the early 60s. You
know? Oh yeah,
I can remember as a teenager discovering it and being shocked that there was so much of it 6, 7, 8 years ago already.
Yeah. Oh God!
But anyway,
and back then, all he did was play harp and sing, and little Stevie Wonder, and he'd sing his heart out. You know?
Yeah, little Stevie Wonder. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I don't know how I have so many Supremes albums. Honest to God, I don't, but I do. And we're going to start
because they were great. That's why.
No, I know, but I don't remember when I even bought one. I mean, I did love the Supremes. Oh, this is I Hear a Symphony. Dianaross.
By far my favorite female group of all time. You know.
Yeah, they're really good. I mean, Stranger in Paradise, Yesterday, I Hear a Symphony, Unchained Melody. What a wonderful song that is. With a Song in My Heart, Without a Song, yin and yang there. My World is Empty Without You, Babe, A Lover's Concerto, Any Girl in Love Knows What I'm Going Through. Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Everything is Good About You, and He's All I Got. He's All I Got. Dianaross and the Supremes. Well, now we also have Dianaross and the Supremes, Love Child.
And that was the song I finally just fell in total love with, you know.
Okay.
That was the first 45 I bought by them. Then I went back and got the others, you know.
Right.
Just awesome.
This has got totally. This has got great songs on it. And I need glasses for this one because it's a blue cover with blue writing, which is very small. But we've got Love Child, of course, the name of the album. Keep an Eye. Now, how long has it been that everything that Evening Train went by? Okay, it's hard to read these. Okay, does your mama know about it? All right, but these are good songs though. I've listened to this, and Love Child was a huge hit.
Royce, can I show you an album of Dianaross?
Please. Oh, what's the name of that one?
Nice cover.
Oh,
Greatest Hits.
Greatest Hits. Okay, cool. Yeah.
It has it's a gatefold.
Is it a double album? Because they had that many hits.
Yeah, actually, wait, hold on. Let me see there. Yeah, it's a double album. Yeah.
Yeah, see? That's how big they were, folks, man. Soundtrack to my childhood. And some teenage yearnings I didn't quite understand, Diana.
Yeah.
Got Groovy Lisa.
And Mary.
Joined us.
Mary was hot.
Lisa. Yeah, that's right. Chris Elliott. Hi, Groovy Lisa. Yeah, Groovy Lisa joined us. Angela joined us. Hey, Angela, how are you, girl? Good to see you. Along with Groovy Lisa.
Hey, Angela. All of you, man. It's so good. Jeff.
Melissa, Boomer of the Night. Thanks for joining us. You've been here
good to see you, Melissa.
Appreciate it.
Well, Melissa has shown up on the Patreon too. I did a video.
Shared, no, I saw that.
Yeah, they shared her voice. I may share the latter part of you and I and her talking as a Patreon down the line because she actually got on screen and she was in this white-black kind of screen. I loved it. What a great effect that was. But she added to the conversation, man. She really did.
Totally. Okay. Dianaross and the Supremes.
Nice.
Cream of the crop. Cream of the crop here.
Wow.
Yeah. Cream of the crop. Someday We'll Be Together. What a big hit that was. Okay.
Yep.
Can't You See It's Me? You Gave Me Love. Hey Jude. Okay. The Young Folks. Shadow of Society. Loving You Is Better Than Ever. When it's to the top still, I Won't Stop Giving You Love. Till Johnny Comes, Johnny. They're waiting for you. The Supremes are waiting for you.
Johnny is in so many rock songs. He's totally overused. I'm jealous, Johnny.
I know. Okay, then we have. You won't believe.
There's no Michael get angry. Michael get.
The Supremes. Let the sunshine in.
Nice.
Okay.
Oh, and Roy, since you used that term, another soul outfit and one of my top 10 favorite singles of all time. The Fifth Dimension and Aquarius.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That as a single. Okay. I don't care if what it sounded like in hair. All right. Just as a single.
It sounded good.
By the Fifth Dimension.
It was a big song.
That is, if your mind is enhanced and inclined in a certain fashion, that'll take you on a magic carpet ride, folks. That Absolutely. Song right there. And of course, when it came out, I'm Aquarius. My sign is Aquarian. And so any song that was saying this is the age of Aquarius, I was going, well, damn right.
Okay.
I think I can get away with the damn there, Royce. We're okay with the damn.
Let's vote on this one. Soul, yes or no?
One. I
the
got
Righteous
that one.
Brothers.
Yeah, I have that one.
I think they're very soulful.
Yeah, I have that one. Great
Talking
album.
about one of the great singles in rock pop history right there is You've Lost That Loving Feeling.
That's absolutely right. You've lost that loving feeling. That's track
and
number
it features them both so well. Vocally.
White Cliffs of Dover.
Yep.
Who does that? Eric Johnson, great guitar player. Georgia on My Mind. Absolutely love that song too. These guys have great voices though. They're just off the chart. I mean, Just Once in My Life, Unchained Melody. What a perfect song for these guys.
That's the most best love song of all time.
Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah.
See, between the two of them, you had a natural baritone who could reach bass notes and a tenor who could reach second tenor and falsetto into what is that called for the women? The high, not alto, but soprano. It's through his, through him slipping into falsetto, so they could cover the gambit, and they did. Their harmonies were not unlike how Lennon and McCartney fashioned their harmonies, with Lennon, often early Beatles, doing the under harmony while Paul sang the high part, which is where the harmony usually lies, but Paul would be singing the melody and John sneaking in underneath him. Righteous Brothers did that a lot.
Well, Jeff Davidson also just hit the nail on the head. They referred to these guys as blue-eyed soul.
Yes, blue-eyed soul. Yeah.
Spot on, Jeff. Spot on.
Yeah, totally. That's exactly what I read about them too.
Great.
So anyway, the Righteous Brothers. Now here's another one. And this is Lou Rawls.
Oh yes.
I mean, Lou Rawls. What a fantastic voice he had. I mean, there's no faking it with soul music. You either have a fantastic voice or you don't.
You'll never find,
because the voice is always the most important.
Like mine.
Exactly.
There was no computer to adjust your voices or all. It was pure talent. If you didn't have the talent, you weren't there.
Yeah, I think more than any other genre, the voice is the most important instrument in soul music. Okay.
Yeah, Lou Rawls had that sandpaper velvet voice, smooth yet rough.
No, he had a great voice. I really enjoyed it. Stormy Monday, okay. Southside Blues, Tobacco Road. Wow. I love that song, Tobacco Road.
I love that song by anybody, yeah.
Yeah, I know. St. James Infirmary, The Shadow of Your Smile, I'd Rather Drink Muddy Water, going to Chicago Blues, In the Evening When the Sun Goes Down, The Girls from Ipanema. Let me get that out if I said it right. Ipanema. Oh, okay, you're right. Okay.
Oh, when I first heard the original Girl from Ipanema,
I got it bad, and that ain't good.
I was 6 years old when I heard that song, and I'll tell you, I was all of a sudden a teenager in my head,
Right. Yeah. So anyway, this guy, every time a song of his comes on, I mean, I just stop what I'm doing.
Barry White had a great voice as well.
And just even more distinct,
And somebody a while ago brought up this next artist, and I have at least three of his albums. I have an album that was my parents', a black cover with the piano with the white and black keys on it, and that is
good point, James Watson.
Ray Charles, True Genius.
Yep.
Sides of Ray. This is a double album here. and it's got. Let me see. Now, who is it? James Watson.
Yeah, he says the greatest love song of all time is "I was made for loving you." Yeah, that is my wife and my song.
Nice.
Belinda Carlisle's version. You know, I've climbed every mountain. All my scars are here as badges, and I've done it all for you. Because a true great love story and love affair has all the warts, folks. And it's the person who calls you on your shit, and you wear your badges, your mistakes proudly. What a wonderful song! I'll back that, James, any day. Wonderful song.
Well, let's talk about a few of these Ray Charles songs here. Hit the Road Jack. Hit the Road Jack. I could tell you stories about Hit the Road Jack. We you know, in Henderson, Nevada, we used to get in trouble getting in fights and stuff with the Boulder City guys this way and the Las Vegas guys that way. And it was a tradition. It's not something we made up. I can remember my best friend's older brother, 5, 6, 7 years older than me, putting a sword in his trunk. They were going to go fight the Boulder City guys, right? So anyway, I don't want to get into this story. I'm not even going to go there. But we wound up walking down the highway from Boulder City to Henderson, me and Danny Alera singing Hit the Road Jack, because the car we were in was the one that got pulled over because it was the slowest damn car there. And my buddy got arrested for failure to yield to a cop that has red lights flashing for 5 minutes before my friend pulled over. And so he told us to hit the road. So we walked down the highway singing Hit the Road Jack. As soon as he was out of sight, we put our thumbs out and caught a ride. Anyway, so Hit the Road Jack.
I could swear you must have been raised the block over from me, man. Your tales of your teenage years are just so close to mine. Well, I was never a car guy, but I always managed to have a friend who had like a 351 stuck in a 1969 Mustang Fastback, Fred Lazinski. Right. So we would never be the slowest car.
No, not like
because
that.
If we took my car at 64 V-Dub,
right.
I had a motorcycle and a bug. That was me, I sank all my money into guitars and amps.
Right. Let me throw a few more of these wonderful Ray Charles songs out. We've got Unchain My Heart, I've Got a Woman, Let's Go Get Stoned. Well, Let's Go Get Stoned. That's a novel idea.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna move to this is a double album again. True Genius. Okay, I'm gonna move to the outskirts of town, smack dab in the middle. Them that got one mint julep. Mint juleps. There's a funny story there. I've got news for you. Here we go again. You are my sunshine. Crying time. Take these chains from my heart. What a great song that is. I can't stop loving you. That was a great song too. What a ballad. I can't stop loving you.
You know what?
Georgia. Huh?
You know what other song's a good one? The Right Time. You want to get into the groove and everything when he sings that. You got the right time for that one. And then the girl comes out, baby. Oh, baby. The right time. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. Doesn't he go back a long ways though too? Like I said, I've got an album that was at my parents' house of Ray Charles, and a couple of others as well.
Well, Ray Charles, that was probably one of the best concerts I've ever seen. It was, I'd say, probably close to 30 years ago, not long before he passed away. What a show. It was amazing. Like, I've seen Page and Plant 3 times. I've been to SARS Fest with 500,000 people. Wow. But seeing Ray Charles, that's one of the best shows I've ever seen.
God, that's fantastic.
When he was come out there singing Georgia on My Mind,
beautiful song.
The whole crowd was in tears. It was
beautiful song.
Excellent.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like two people helped him out on stage when he first came out. And by the second song, the adrenaline, just his energy and maybe whatever else he might have been doing all kicked in and he was in high gear. It was an excellent show.
Yeah.
Well, oh man. If you haven't heard Ray Charles sing this, just imagine it for a minute. Georgia on My Mind.
Beautiful song.
Oh my God. Masterpiece.
Yes, a masterpiece single.
And after that, Eleanor Rigby, busted.
A good version of it too. Especially with the Beatles doing the consummate version of that. Who was going to make that better? And Ray Charles didn't make it better, but he pulled it off.
Yeah, I might. This is in orange vinyl. I might have to show.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's a double album in orange vinyl. Let's see. Some of the orange is just so damn pretty,
Yeah.
I like colored vinyl. It's something.
What was the first album you guys ever bought that was colored vinyl? I remember distinctly, but I'd like to hear you guys say.
Let me think here.
Usually that's something you'll remember, right? Oh, this is a different colored. It's not black, right?
Just recently, Miles Davis.
Okay, great.
Miles, some kind of blue. Yeah.
Miles Davis. Okay.
Something. Yeah.
What about you, Chris?
To be honest with you, I don't think I've bought too many actual albums. It was like cassettes and CDs by the time I started collecting. I was just exposed to my dad's, my cousins, my uncles, all of their album collection. So
well,
I never actually bought any, but I had a lot at my disposal.
For me, it was American Band by Grand Funk. It came in colored vinyl on its initial release, and it was like, bonus.
Yeah.
Bonus.
Well, I've got so much colored vinyl right now. I really, you've seen my Bob Marley and the Rasta colors. That
my God,
set. I've got Creedence Clearwater Chronicles in color. I've got, Bob Seger in color. I've got Chicago.
Alice Cooper.
I got Ozzy Osbourne. Patient Number 9, double red black smoked vinyl.
Yeah.
I've got not Crazy Train, but what's the other one in the same time frame there? I've got that in blue vinyl.
Over the Mountain.
No. It's another Ozzy Osbourne. I just can't think of it right now. I've got quite a bit of Ozzy Osbourne albums and Black Sabbath as well. I have the Reunion Tour, which is a double CD disc, and that's interesting to see them all get back together again. So anyway, I actually, believe it or not, I still have some Diana Ross and the Supremes.
Well, of course.
More hits by the Supremes, okay? And
just in case you didn't have enough the first time,
That's right.
No, they were a hit-making machine.
No, they really were. They were big. Yeah. They were popular. Everybody liked them. They had hits on all the damn time.
And they had their own sound, because there were a ton of girl groups out there.
Oh, no,
and some of them kind of sounded alike. A lot of the Phil Spector girl groups sounded kind of alike. And the Supremes had, remember that. Here's how good they were. Remember, they were on their way. They were already had probably 9 or 10 top 10 hits. And then Herb Alpert came out with his style. And then all of a sudden, Diana Ross and the Supremes comes out. What was that? Dun dun dun. And it was this big kind of almost Herb Alpert. They could do any style in the moment. Like 2 weeks after Herb Alpert was popular, they were sounding like Herb Alpert.
No, that's exactly right.
Awesome. Awesome group.
I like Herb Alpert a lot, and a lot of his songs. A lot of his songs, like "Lonely Bull," I think I have maybe three of his albums, were adapted by the surfing community and turned into surf songs. And became popular for surfers. Huh?
I just loved them the first time I heard them.
I got the one with the green cover with the girl covered with whipped cream.
Yeah.
Didn't Herb Alpert? Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I thought you were finished. Didn't Herb Alpert have a hit?
Yes, that's exactly. Yeah, he did. Yeah, Jeff Davidson just nailed it. I couldn't think of that.
That's Lonely Bull, isn't it?
No, I don't think that's Lonely Bull.
No, that's not. No, yeah. But he also had. He even sang lead and had a #1 hit. This boy's in love.
Yeah, that's right.
dun, 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 dun. Oh, his voice was perfect for it.
A couple of minutes ago, I couldn't think of one of my colored Ozzy Osbourne albums. It's Blue, and Jeff Davidson nailed it. Diary of a Madman. I tell you, Jeff Davidson knows music like almost no other. Believe me, he used to call.
Oh, I can tell by his comments. Yeah, I can tell. He's always bringing up great points.
Oh, I know. Oh no. So anyway, so this is the last of my Supremes albums. Okay, I hear a symphony.
Nice one.
Yeah.
By the way, Johnny, Music Sanctuary, I see them all over the place.
Yeah, Rebel News is a great. I love Rebel News, so I thought I saw him on there on the comment section.
I bump into Sanctuary all the time in the comments.
Okay, so here we have Dionne Warwick.
Oh yes, yeah,
soulful.
Yep.
Can't argue with soulful.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, so this has got great songs on it too. And let's see.
I love Dionne. Yeah, I loved her.
Yeah, no, she's good too.
Do you know the way to San Jose? She just had that.
Yeah, let me see if that one's on here. Yeah, oh, totally. I've been loving you too long. People got to be free. People got to be free. Yeah. You've got that. You've lost that loving feeling. People get ready. Do right, woman. I'm your puppet. I'm your puppet. Okay, you're all I need to get by. We can work it out. Hard Day's Night. I mean, so many of these covered the Beatles. And right behind that, Hard Day's Night is Hey Jude. Okay.
Don't make me over. Don't make me over from Dionne Warwick was a great song as well.
Okay, last but not least of my show and tell, I still have a list of soul artists, but this is James Brown.
Oh yes, the Godfather of Soul.
The Godfather of Soul, and this is Soul Brother #1, and we have Try Me, Night Train, I'll Go Crazy. Papa's Got a Brand New Bag. Who didn't love that song? Papa's Got a Brand New Bag. That was and you know what? I really like the horns too. They had great horns in a lot of his songs and some great saxophone. And I love saxophone music, but the trumpets and all the rest of the horns. I mean, he had some great horn sections playing.
Well, and he was just as flamboyant, and the band was synced to his movement just as much as Alice Cooper was in a macabre way. James Brown played himself as a steroid of himself, on stage. Right. One of the greatest performers in music history, James Brown, and a great voice.
Well, and his dancing, though, his dancing is what he really prided himself in. He had the moves,
footwork. Yeah,
footwork.
Two of my favorites from The Godfather, Please, 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 and Try Me. Try Me is an absolutely fantastic song.
Yeah. Yep. Right. Well, you know what's funny is me and my friends were probably maybe 6th or 7th grade. We saw James Brown, and the guy kept bringing out the cape. The two guys trying to put a cape on him.
Right.
And he'd throw it off, and we thought that was the funniest damn thing we ever saw.
Walk off the stage like this. And somebody ran after him, put the cape on, he'd come back.
Are you telling me Alice Cooper didn't get part of his going to the gallows approach from the almost dying James Brown? Come on. And Alice Cooper's band, they could go from like a hard rock sound to almost like how they mimicked a lot of the sounds from the movie West Side Story. When you're a jet, you're a jet. So they would have that big sound. I think I'd love to interview Alice Cooper. I'd ask him, was James Brown, instrumental in any way how you approached live performance? Because, James Brown came before Alice Cooper, and here the lead character is, if not dying, looks like he's about to die. And of course, that's him saying, I give my life for you, my audience. And we all loved it, Just an awesome performer.
Okay, so he had Papa's Got a Brand New Bag, which was used. This was big too. Please, Please, Please. Let's see. Prisoner of Love. It's a man's world. That was I love that song too. That's a great song. Yeah.
Yeah.
Give it up or turn it loose. One way or the other, you're giving it up. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to get my mouse to work here.
By the way, earlier you were talking about Temptations, Royce. We kind of got off of them. You know, if there was my second favorite band out of soul, to me, the Isley Brothers are my favorite.
I love the Isley Brothers. You know that Jimi Hendrix lived with one of the Isley Brothers for between 4 and 5 years, and taught his son Ernie Isley how to play guitar.
And they called him Little Hendrix. That was his nickname.
Well, and I found that out at the tribute to Hendrix. It wasn't called Tribute to Hendrix. It was I saw it twice. Once at the Avalon Blues Festival, one Arlington Theater in Santa Barbara. But anyway, so Ernie Isley came out when it was his turn to play and told the story. He said, Jimmy came to live with us when I was a little boy. He taught me how to play the guitar. I'm like, what? Never heard this story before. And then he started playing. He sounds just like Jimi Hendrix. It was like mind-boggling.
They would call him Little Hendrix. And on top of that, he was one of the first progenitor of using a very wide chorus effect to his guitar with a sustain box as well. And that's where he would almost start to sound like Jimi Hendrix. At the time, the Isley Brothers were doing all those hits. Him and Robin Trower were my favorite guitarists because they were carrying on what Jimmy had left as a genre. And it was important that we had those guitarists after the sad passing of Jimmy, because Jimmy was that big of a monster, right?
Oh, yeah.
I know. I know. Well, I don't need to convince you, Royce, on Jimmy's.
No, you don't need to convince me. I'm a huge Jimi Hendrix fan. Everybody knows
and
that.
I am too. But you're like a mega Hendrix fan. You know,
mega.
Yeah.
It was only in the last couple of years I pulled Led Zeppelin even with him.
Right.
And he had a very short career and only 3 studio albums.
Right. And you know what? Even if you said, I believe Jimi Hendrix is better than Jimmy Page, I would go, I disagree with you, but I honor that decision. And if I was on a desert island, I could live with your list as well, Royce. So they were that close.
Right.
Hendrix, Clapton, Beck, Page, Santana.
All of them so uniquely different, though, too.
Oh, yeah. And their magic button for 90% of them, Stevie Ray Vaughan, was their vocabulary, not just their riffability, but to take common guitar riffs and somehow make a solo that sounds more like a story than just a bunch of like duck walk licks or, you know, the stuff off the minor what is it, minor pentatonic scale, the blues scale. You know, that was just the launch pad. Then they would play stuff that went way beyond that, got into modes and everything. Vocabulary is big.
You know, the thing with Jimi Hendrix, I've heard people say, oh yeah, Hendrix was easy. Van Halen was hard, but Hendrix was easy to learn. But they're not watching him play closely, you know. I mean, it's not from one note to the next. There's so many things in between those 2 notes, you know.
Hendrix is not easy.
So many nuances, you know. It's just crazy. Okay, so I'm gonna read through. Go ahead, Michael. Go ahead.
I was just going to say this in case for you sharks out there in the peanut gallery, they're getting off track again. Jimi Hendrix got a start in soul, folks.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Right. We're not off topic.
He played for the Isley Brothers. He played for Ike Turner, and Ike fired him. And he played for Little Richard. Little Richard fired him because he was getting all the attention. Little Richard would hear the applause just break out in hoots and hollers. They'd look up with a smile, and they were all looking at Jimmy, not him.
And think of those great guitarists we just mentioned and their connection to soul. That's why I have no trouble with most of these artists tonight being in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Right. Because they're rocking enough. Yeah.
No, it's not like somebody it's not like somebody from country being in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Not at all. They're just they're way more closely linked than that.
Royce, you and I have had this conversation, and I know you agree with me. We both feel that the one thing that can save rock and roll now is to get back to blues.
The blues.
And to tell you the truth, I think soul these days is in dire straits, and it needs to get back to the blues.
Yeah. Okay.
We could see a resurgence. See, people forget the building blocks, the magic ingredients that has to go in for the spell. Because if you want the magic of what classic rock brought to, Johnny and Chris at his generation, Royce and I at our generation, I think Royce and I got you beat by a couple of years, Johnny. Royce is a year older than me, so no telling. But
and Michael's old.
I'm almost 67, so I don't know.
Yeah, I'm old as dirt.
I'm older. I'm older.
I'm 69, Johnny. I'm 69.
Really? Wow.
Let me mention something that I've been thinking about since the show started and doing my research. Groovy Lisa brought up Michael Jackson, King of Pop, but
I agree.
When you look at lists of soul artists, Michael Jackson is listed there.
Yeah. With Jackson 5.
The Jackson 5 was at first a soul pop band. So
I mean, like I said, there's a lot of people that are more of a fusion of styles, but they're still soul as well.
Well, and Off the Wall, not in the Marvin Gaye, right?
Not in the Marvin Gaye or Otis Redding vein, but there's still, there's still some soul to their music.
Well, Otis Redding and all those guys got songs that were great that crossed over to pop very readily, whereas Michael Jackson had the soul background, but was primarily a pop artist, either with the Jacksons or by himself. And I just said this, Off the Wall is more a soul album than it is connected to the next album, which I think the next album, wasn't that Thriller? So
I'm not sure. Didn't Bad come before? Okay, I'm not sure either.
What's that? Oh,
all I know is they made a lot of great videos from the Thriller album that played on MTV. It was a lot of fun to watch them.
It was an event.
It was an event, exactly.
It really was
a fusion between soul and different musics. One good example of that. I mean, it's a comedy movie and whatever, but the Blues Brothers.
Yeah, good call, Chris.
Soul and blues, and so if anybody wants to introduce themselves in a way, those Blues Brothers. Another one I have the soundtrack sitting beside me here is The Big Chill. If you like that kind of
Big Chill, that was a great movie and a great soundtrack.
It's got like My Girl, The Tracks of My Tears, Ain't Too Proud to Beg.
Yeah.
Tracks of My Tears.
The Blues Brothers reopened soul, and I think by opening that, they even opened up for other kind of old sounds, because it was right along with the Blues Brothers we saw the Stray Cats come onto the scene.
Yep.
Royce?
Yeah.
Did you happen to mention Al Green?
You know what? All I've mentioned so far was the ones that I have albums or CDs for. Oh. I have a bigger list that I don't. But no, Al Green, But like for example, Dancing in the Street, Martha and the Vandellas.
Martha and Vandellas, yeah.
Please, Mr. Postman by the Marvelettes.
Right.
I don't have.
Or by the Beatles.
Stop in the Name of Love by the Supremes, of course. That was a big song. Signed, Sealed, Delivered by Stevie Wonder, big song. Mm-hmm. Of course, Tracks of My Tears, Smokey Robinson and the Miracles.
Yep.
That might have been his biggest song. That and what's that other? I can't think of it offhand, but Reach Out, I'll Be There, the Four Tops. But I showed the Four Tops. I showed the Temptations. Ain't Too Proud to Beg was a big song. Four Tops, Sugar Pie, Honey Bunch. That was actually on the CD that I showed. I didn't read that one out loud, but it was on there. Then we have one of my favorites, Mustang Sally by Wilson Pickett.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, who didn't love Mustang Sally and so many other
by anybody?
But I mean by Wilson Pickett in particular.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not the only big hit he had. He had a lot of them.
Yeah.
Herb Alpert was huge in the 60s, one of the biggest selling acts. He parlayed his money into A&M Records. Oh, nice. Yeah, no, that's
he did.
We had my parents had Herb Alpert records. They had quite a lot.
I collected his records, man, when they came out. I love them.
Yeah, I've got maybe 3 of his albums right now. Yeah. Okay, so then we have
if it wasn't for Herb Alpert, later on, I don't think I would have been able See, I wasn't a big fan of the band that did Spinning Wheels, mainly because of the horns, and I always kind of related horns to like old orchestrational black and white movies. And then I would hear the horns there, and that opened me not up to so much the group of Spinning Wheel, whatever their name is. I'm forgetting the name of them. But for Chicago, when Chicago came out with horns and Terry Kath, oh my God.
Royce?
Now I could abide horns. And then that opened me to Tower of Power, which has its roots in soul and R&B.
Royce, did you mention? Oh, here's someone you mention. Bobby Bland.
Oh yeah, Bobby Bland.
Great voice.
Yeah,
Huh?
Great voice.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, George. Which one is that? Bobby Bland. Okay. George, Music for All Seasons brought up a good one. The Supremes, only American group to score more #1 hits in the 60s than any other American band.
Yep.
That's why I have so many of their albums. They had so much stuff out there.
All great stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were a super group.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you can't lie with those numbers. You just can't. They were a force. A major force. The Beatles had to contend with them in sales, and that was almost unheard of.
Yeah, look at Daddy Boggs here. James Brown and George Michael both died on Christmas Day.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Mick Jagger got his moves from James Brown. I thought he got them from a chicken. No, I'm kidding. that poultry movie
though. Possible though. That's possible.
No.
Well, there's some James Brown.
And the footwork, absolutely in the footwork. Yes.
Yeah.
Hey,
he's got that.
Fox Ochaka's here.
But he's also just Mick too. There's as much just what came out. If you watch early Mick, every once in a while he'll look. Another singer did this too. Was Eric Burdon. He would look at the camera when they'd be on these TV shows and crack into a smile. Now, when Eric Burdon did it, it was like to let all the girls know, I'm the bad boy you like. And when Mick did it, it was almost like him cracking out of his facade, being bashful Mick. And the girls love that too. And the same gimmick with two different results. Major frontmen, by the way, both of them.
Yeah, absolutely, Michael. And Michael Chavez brought up some more. Let's see, Tijuana Taxi, Whipped Cream. I think I have the Whipped Cream album. I mentioned that earlier. Taste of Honey, Zorba the Greek, Casino Royale, Spanish Flea. Yeah, I saw Spanish Flea just the other day in a thrift store. I should have bought it. Damn it.
Oh yeah, you should have.
Can I present for the interview? Can I be present for the interview? Fox Ochaka.
Yes.
Okay, so getting back, let's get back here to some soul music. We already talked about the Isley Brothers. Another band I like was Booker T and the MGs. I think they were strictly instrumental, but it was good stuff.
For what I remember, they were. Yeah. I love their kind of rendition of the Abbey Road cover on that album. That first album that was real popular by them. Okay. They may have had albums before that, but that's when I became, being a Beatle fan, Booker T and the MGs, and that, they had the album cover that looked like Abbey Road kind of, and I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, no, that is cool. Then we have, let's see, Gladys Knight and the Pips.
Oh yeah,
her and her Pips. Another thing when I was reading and stuff earlier today, they were calling, and I have a great double album of theirs, and I know Michael loves this band too, Sly and the Family Stone. And they were kind of a fusion between soul and jazz and pop and rock, and you could call them. You could You could call them almost anything you wanted, but they were being called soul. I don't hear them, like I said, in the same vein as some of the other soul bands, but
they were like hippie soul. Don't you think, Royce?
Yeah, hippie soul sounds great. I saw them twice in concert at the Hollywood Palladium, and I tell you what, those were excellent concerts. I mean, I really enjoyed it.
Oh, I don't know what he sounded like later with later incarnations, but those first 2 or 3 albums, I think there were some lineup changes even with those, but for the most part, it was the original idea still intact, enough of the original band. That band, when I think of Sly and the Family Stone, I think of that band, half white, half blacks, and Hispanics mixed in, from every flavor of humanity. And they're talking about universal concepts like having hot fun in the summertime.
In the summertime, right?
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, well, you know, this what I have is a double album set of greatest hits, so it covers all that early stuff too, and just a great album.
Oh yeah.
Jeff Davidson, great show tonight. Jeff, thanks so much, brother.
Thank you, Jeff.
Appreciate you saying so.
We're staying a lot more on point than we did last week. You got to admit, Jeff.
Yeah, totally. Well, let's see. What do we got?
Oh, and Daddy Bog brought up, you were talking, Royce, but you brought up his comment. I had just found this out. Daddy Bog is actually friends with Al Jardine and a couple of other later backup players for the band in later incarnations. So, like I said, one of these days we really need to do a show on the Beach Boys, and Daddy Bog has got to agree to come up here.
He's got to agree.
We'll do him up right with him on the panel.
Oh, you got to remember, you got to also, going back to Sly, his actual name was Sylvester Stewart. And I brought this up before too. I think he played in he was in the doo-wop band, the Viscanes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. So how popular were they?
The Viscanes, they had a few hits.
Yeah.
I'm trying to pull some up, but they had a couple. They had a few hits. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Well, we have Junior Walker and the All Stars, Little Anthony and the Imperials. Let's see, Isaac Hayes and Curtis Mayfield.
Yeah, they were big there for a while.
There's another 100 you could bring up. Really.
Yeah, tons.
I mean, it's just almost endless. There was so many, and it was such a big.
One that was brought up earlier in the chat, and Johnny mentioned him as well, is Barry White.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Barry White, absolutely.
Barry White. Yeah.
Practice what you preach.
Yeah. Yeah, he had that bedroom rock sound, didn't he?
Well, okay, Whitney Houston. Groovy Lisa mentioned Whitney Houston. Soul.
Got her right away, her first album. I loved her. And yes, she is soul because of her connection with her aunt, and that's her beginnings. And she became more pop, but I even like her song from Titanic. And I'm not a big lead female singer. I don't like who's the redhead who does all the Christmas albums and all of these acrobatic singers. I can't stand it, but Whitney Houston is the one. No, not Pink. I'm thinking, she was big in the 80s. Huh? Mariah Carey. That's right.
Oh,
Mariah Carey. Sorry, Mariah. No, but I think she's overblown. But Whitney Houston, whoa.
Well,
there's a woman.
We took took our oldest daughter, I think she was about in 8th or 9th grade, out of school, and said we had a surprise for her. Whitney Houston was her favorite artist. We took her to Bakersfield, and we had tickets to see Whitney Houston, and she couldn't believe it. She was so excited. And we got in there. We didn't have the best seats, and I looked up at the front couple of rows, and there were empty seats. And after about 3 songs or so. So me and my daughter were chomping at the bit to go up there and get him. My wife was flipping out. She thinks we're all going to go to jail for trying to get a better seat. So finally, we convinced my wife. We all went up there and sat down and watched it right up front. And man, what a performance!
Oh, you were blessed then, because with her sad passing, at an all too young age, her ability. Yeah. She was the one vocal acrobatic female singer out of them all that actually had. We're talking about soul tonight. She had soul and a tragic life. The devils of rock and roll and pop music toll their revenge upon you when you make even one misstep, and she took several. and we lost a giant with Whitney Houston. I don't care if that's not rock and roll enough for people to hear, but I was actually a big fan. I bought her very first album. Remember, she was in that one-piece orange bathing suit, and I went, ah. I mean, I thought she was beautiful, and that first album, you know, I bought that album. I bought Tug of War, and I bought Dire Straits album. What was the big one with Money for Nothing? Brothers to Arms. Yeah. My 3 first CDs I bought. Okay. And I was only supposed to buy 2, so I told my wife I bought the Whitney Houston for her.
There you go. That's what you have to do sometimes.
It worked.
Okay, James. Oh, totally. James Watson brought up "Tears of a Clown," another Smokey Robinson big hit.
Yes, beautiful cut.
Let's see. You know, you're right about that, Michael. I mean, sometimes before I bought something for myself, I would be sure and buy my wife something first.
Oh, me too. And by the way, when you sent those records, Chicago and the Beach Boys will be played endlessly by Kimberly. So a big thank you from her, by the way, Royce.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, tell her I'm really glad to hear that. You know, Daddy Boggs brought something up, Michael. You were struggling trying to bring up the name of a band with horns. And that was the exact band I was getting ready to say, and we got sidetracked. But yeah,
Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Yes, thank you, James. That's who I couldn't think of. You know, they got into a scandal early in their history. They were forced by their record company to do a tour behind the Iron Curtain, and they got into a lot of scandal over that, and it really just wrecked them. They were on their way like Chicago. They were a little too pedestrian in their sound. They sounded more like they came from a musical with the horns rather than like you know, I mean, Chicago came out of the gate for me with 25-6-4 and Terry Kath on there, you know, and the bass player taking the higher register of the song later on, Peter Cetera. And I was completely, I had never seen a guitar player in a horn-centered band that sounded as good as Johnny Winter, as good as Rory Gallagher. Terry Kath, underrated. Terry Kath is a master guitarist.
Royce?
Yes.
I don't know. I hope you don't mind. How about, do you think this girl had a lot of soul?
More blues. Yeah, she had soul, but she did it in the blues genre, blues rock.
Yeah.
But
that's how I would feel. Yeah. But yeah, soul and blues right there, big time.
What a voice.
Let's just say she sang her soul out. Like when she sang her songs, it was like her whole soul just.
Oh no, you totally felt that, didn't you?
If you listen to some of her live stuff with Big Brother and the Holden Company, and some of that bluesy soul, she's excellent.
You know, I never thought of her as an attractive woman, except for when she would sing. Her voice was so beautiful; she would become prettier to me when I would see her sing live, you know.
Michael, I thought you'd like this, but I don't know. This one's pretty good. This picture.
No, that's a great picture of her. That's perfect.
That's a good picture right there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be the iconic photo of her for me. You know, I always think of her there, or you know, the album where she's just sitting on the floor. You know. Lord, God, won't you buy me a Mercedes Benz? You know.
Okay, Sly and the Family were
funk and soul. Fair, George. That's a fair assumption. Yeah,
I would say so too.
Yeah.
Very funky.
Yeah, I would say that.
Very,
Yeah, I find a lot of that music is similar to how they break rock in all these different genres.
Yeah.
I find like blues, soul, funk, Motown, all of that is just different genres of the same style of music.
Well, Royce and I were talking about that before the show, Chris. That there are as many subgenres in soul and funk and what would you call it? Also the connection of gospel and all of that. But it was done in a way in the 60s that sat so very well with the pop rock, especially, but even heavy rock. I mean, we three of us in this room grew up listening to Heard It Through the Grapevine, followed by Magic Carpet Ride, followed by I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar, followed by Terry Jacks, Goodbye Papa, It's Time to Die, back to Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin. This was like your average AM station back in the day. What a magical time. Someone
brought up the Impressions, Jerry Butler and the Impressions. For your precious love. Beautiful
there you
song.
Go. Yeah, good.
Yeah, Fox with Chaka, the Impressions. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks for
so many.
Adele's the only good soul.
Oh,
Adele is the only good soul singer left.
Oh, and you know what, Royce, another important thing to talk about soul is its effect on rock and roll, especially bands coming out of England. And that was that Motown, first of all, their recording facilities were often primitive, yet they were using boards that even Abbey Road, EMI, couldn't begin to compare with. And the Beatles, especially Paul McCartney, were very angry that Motown records had this bottom end. Their bass groove sounded so well, and they'd be up there, and everybody at EMI told the Beatles, we can't do that. It'll make the needle jump on the records. And Paul would tell them, they do it in Motown, you know. And that's when they brought Jeff Emmerich and Ken Townsend. They started messing with putting rewiring bass cabinets, and they did their recording with Rain and Paperback Writer. And then after that, they even went further. But it was because of Motown. Even the mighty Beatles knew they were being outdrawn as far as bass response on those 45s, you know.
Oh, absolutely. Look at Jerry C's comment here. Papa was a Rolling Stone. Massive.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't agree more with that.
I could eat that one up, brother.
Well, folks, I got something to say here. Listen, it's getting late. We're going to be ending soon. I want to thank everybody. You guys all helped push me past 1,000 subscribers about 3 weeks ago. I'm up to about 1,050 now, and the show's
that's
been
no
growing.
Small feat, Royce. Yeah, you know that's about a 60, close to 60 increase in a matter of weeks compared to where you were going. You're growing, brother. Every time I turn around, every few days, I go, he's up another 10. And you would experience kind of like a cessation of growth there for a time. We all get into that, by the way.
Oh, I know.
And you're starting to roll again, man. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. Yeah. So anyway, when I hit the 1,000, of course, that's that milestone where the YouTube invites you into their partnership program. They start throwing a couple of pennies at you for commercials. I think my cumulative total over 3 weeks, I'm sorry, but I track all this stuff just for the hell of it, is like $28.66 over 3 weeks. And the funny thing is, you don't get paid a penny till you reach $100. Then they pay you.
I know, Royce, but when you get it, guess what? You can just buy yourself a lavalier microphone or buy yourself something for the studio. Invest it right back. Take it off your taxes.
You don't like my microphone?
I love your microphone. Your microphone's more fancy than mine.
Everything goes back into here anyway. Now that it's a business, maybe this kind of stuff will be a write-off.
And so everybody, please share this video. That helps, Royce, because if you share it with a friend, more often than not, they'll go ahead and subscribe. Well,
we did set up a membership too. If you go to, you'll see it if you're just looking at the screen. There's a membership you can join if you'd like.
When did that go into effect? Last time I was up, I didn't see that. I'll join.
It's been a couple of weeks back.
So Roy,
where is it then? Where is it? Where do I find it?
Well, I can't find it on StreamYard, but it should be if you're on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, it'll be across the top with playlists and all that other stuff.
All right, I'll check it out because of course I'll join immediately.
On the far left, it'll say join, and on the far right, past everything else, it'll say membership. And
you join my tribe, so I'll join yours.
Thanks. That's where there'll be some exclusive videos, and I'll probably ask you for a little help. It seems a little complicated putting those videos on the membership only thing, and we can talk about that some other time.
Yeah.
But
Anytime,
anyway,
brother.
Yeah. Anyway, so there's the other little things trying to go on there, and we want to just thank everybody. I really appreciate the support. The 1,000 subs was a long time coming. I really thought I was never going to get there. I was probably going to die of old age before it happened, but it happened. Michael was a big part of that. Michael been a big supporter of mine. I appreciate it. I've been a big supporter of his. But his big,
absolutely.
His big support, I think, means more than my big support.
Not at all. You know what,
anyway.
Royce? You know, when I share your videos, they do pretty well. I usually get over 1,000. I've gotten as many as 8,000 views on them, so I benefit as well. And
I know you do, and I love what you do. I love what you do with those.
But you know that's not the reason I do it. I do it because I believe in what we do on your channel. And to me, this is my home away from home. The three of you, the four of us, I should say, but the three of you, I consider friends of mine. I enjoy being here.
That's how I feel, big time. Yeah,
right.
Likewise.
I really wish David could have come up tonight. He could have added so much to this conversation.
I never saw him at the bottom of the screen. I don't know what the deal is.
Yeah, I always love David in conversation. He's so well measured, and his expertise in sonics are beyond mine.
He's really
he's got his own set of expertise. You know? Yeah. And I really respect everything he does. And anybody who's wondering about that, it's Texas Safe and Sound Audio Excursions.
Right.
And David runs all of that very professionally. And
he is so good at what he does. I mean, he'll do these not just an A and B between an old and a new, you know, of the same album, but he'll do 3 or 4 versions. Right. And he'll rank them. You know, all these different.
And here's my thing, Royce, is he
OG, the high dollar one that's, you know,
and he's got a pair of ears. I have a pair of ears, and I can tell you his are fine-tuned. He knows what to listen for.
He knows what to listen for, yeah.
And he also knows the history of bands as well. You know, it's not like he's just Mr. Audiophile only. He's a fan.
When he used to come on this show, and you were always here too, and I was doing kind of the Beatles series. I was working my way through Beatles albums, and there's still some I haven't done. But he'd come on and he'd have, I don't know how many versions of each one of those albums, you know.
Oh, and Royce, here's another kind of shout out I'd like to do. We miss you, Bruce Colon from B-Sides. Bruce now, he's very busy with work right now. And so he hasn't been putting out videos. I'm hoping that changes. But we do miss you, Bruce. If you're ever out there and weren't planning to come on, but it seems like, you know, even if you're not currently doing videos, you're always welcomed on this panel.
Michael, I was going to ask you about Bruce tonight. I was thinking about him too. It's been so long since we've seen him. But
Bruce kind of got a little downhearted too, I think, which I did too. I got really down there.
That's probably happened to me more than once. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, you know, what had happened is I had run full gambit for 2 solid years, running this 60 hours a week with no days off, nothing, because that's my situation. I can put that kind of energy into my channel. And with Kimberly I got burnt. I got burnt right after I did that interview with Terry Draper. And I was considering going halftime and everything. And I didn't realize that I was in a slump. That I had lost my direction and everything. And then I'd do videos, and they'd still be decent videos, but I wouldn't get the reaction that I thought I deserved. So that made me, you know, I just had to kind of re-humble myself and just go, you know what, I'm going to do whatever I fucking, got to bleep that. I'm sorry, brother. I want to do from now on. All right. And it just kind of comes out like like that. And so I'm waiting for him to get re-energized because Bruce has such a unique perspective on, and he's a major fan of classic rock.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, folks, we've gone on a little longer than I had planned. So I want to thank everybody for a final time for being here. I really appreciate each and every one of you. And that's what's going on in Royce's world tonight. Good night, everybody.
Take care.
Night, everybody.
Good night.
Thanks for having me on, Royce.